everyone, it's Taylor here today, and I'm going to share with you how I created this pop of color over black cardstock using a lot of supplies you might already have in your collection. I'll be using the Wildflower Background stamp, along with the Simple Strips Friendship stamp and the Coordinating Simple Strips die. I'll also be doing some embossing on this card, so I have my usual tools for embossing, Versamark, a powder tool, and my white fine detail embossing powder. I'll be stamping the sentiments in Oreo ink and using a collection of Copic markers. So let's get started by setting up that wildflower background over the top of the Oreo cardstock. I'm going to condition the cardstock with a powder tool before I begin the embossing process, just so that embossing powder, when we do sprinkle that on, it only sticks to the portions we've stamped with the Versamark and does not stick to the rest of our cardstock. So here's that white fine detail embossing powder that I'm just spreading over the entire image, brushing it off. Sometimes if I do get little stray pieces, I'll use a paintbrush to brush those off of my cardstock before I heat with my heat tool. Once that embossing powder is set, I'm taking a clean microfiber cloth and just brushing it over the top of that cardstock to remove the excess powder residue. I've repeated those steps 3 more times, so I'm working with a set of 4 cards here as I begin adding Copic marker over the top of the white embossed portions of the image. Now my tip for choosing your Copics is to choose a dark color. You want something that ends typically with about a 7 or a 9. You'll just be a lot happier with the vibrancy of the color. Also, I'm not following the lines exactly. I'm coloring in the entire flower, and the Copic really doesn't darken the centers of that black cardstock enough to make it matter. So you can really make this process pretty quick and easy. And you can see how beautifully that turns out, just popping those bright colors off of the black cardstock simply by coloring with Copic over the white embossing powder. I have all 4 of those now finished, and I can begin with my sentiments. So I'm going to set up that Friendship Simple Strips in my MISTI with the sugar cube cardstock and stamping that down in the Oreo ink. You'll see it has those alignment squares on the left and the right, and that's what's going to align perfectly with the coordinating die. And then I can send that through my die cut machine and get 18 sentiments perfectly cut in one pass. Now I'm going to take my foam sticky strips and adhere those down to the card bases that we created. I decided on these that I didn't want the flagged ends, so I went ahead and cut off the flags on these. You can just choose what you want for your project. If you like the flags, keep the flags. If not, you can trim them off. Once I finish those card panels, I'm going to add them to sugar cube card bases that I've already stamped with my new custom stamp. It says, "With love from the craft room of Taylor Van Bruggen." Occasionally at Tailored Expressions, we offer a personalized stamp pop-up shop. So if you're interested in your own personalized stamp, stop by our website and also get on our mailing list so you know every time we offer new personalized stamps. Now I'll finish folding those card bases and add the colored card panels to the front with my Scotch tape runner. Now, one thing I did do off screen, after I finished these, I thought they needed just a little something extra. So when you see the picture at the beginning and the end, you may notice that I added some white splatters, which is really easy to do with a little bit of sugar cube ink and a paintbrush. I hope you'll try this technique in your craft room soon, and I would love to see what you make. You can find all of these products at the Tailored Expressions web store at tailoredexpressions.com.